I hope y'all don't judge me because the last time I did a video in this spot, I was wearing the same sweater, but I had a different undershirt on in my defense. And I do laundry and stuff, but there are just certain clothing items that I will always wear them if I can get away with it because they're so comfy. So it's the same sweater, but I promise you it's been washed. It's been washed. So today's video, I wanted to be a little cheeky. And I know I'm a little bit late because it's the week of Valentine's or whatever, but I wanted to do an anti-Valentine's month book recommendation video. For those of us who maybe don't automatically pick up a romance book in February, I have some other options for you. And some of these, not all of them, but some of them kind of drive home why you might be better on your own sometimes. Sometimes being in love can be your downfall. And that was really fun. Only one of these I don't have. There's only one that I don't have. So we'll start with that one actually. And it's going to be Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Every time I think about this book, it makes me grind my teeth together. Kind of like Noxcadia does actually. There were just certain books that I read and I realized that as I was reading them, I was rage reading them because I was really annoyed with them. Probably should have DNF'd it, but I did finish it. In Rock, Paper, Scissors, it's a fan favorite. So even though it didn't work for me, I can still recommend it, especially because I hear about so many people that love Alice Feeney and love Rock, Paper, Scissors. But in Rock, Paper, Scissors, a husband and wife go to this remote, like snowy cabin retreat. Um, they're supposed to be rebuilding their relationship and spending quality time together. The husband has something called face blindness, so he cannot associate facial features to any set person, right? So they go somewhere, and I think they get lost actually. I didn't fully retain a lot of the details because I was so annoyed with the characters. But they go to this retreat in the woods, and the whole point is for them to like reconnect and like build their marriage and stuff. But you find out because it changes between their point of view, but between their points of view and time. Like it goes back in time a little bit and then back to the present. There are letters from the wife to the husband in there as well. It kind of shows like the degradation of their marriage and what happened to get them to the point where they are when you pick up the book. Guys, Alice Feeney apparently utilizes unreliable narrators pretty often, and Rock, Paper, Scissors is a prime example of an unreliable ass narrator. Two of them, they were all unreliable in my opinion. They go and then they lost, and bad things are happening in the snowy woods, and you know, I think that the first red flag might have been your husband having face blindness and not being able to tell your face apart from others. I think that was a red flag for me, and I probably should have stopped at that point, but I kept going because I am nothing if not determined to rage read books sometimes. So it was an interesting thriller. At the end of the day, it didn't work for me, but I know a lot of people that really like Alice Feeney and a lot of people that have loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. So I would recommend that if you're looking for a quick thriller to read during the month of love, and you want it to be kind of like anti-love. I think that's a great anti-love thriller. Despite the ending, I think it's a fantastic portrayal of why sometimes you are just better off on your fucking own. Like you don't need to be with somebody, especially when it's not the right somebody, in my opinion. But I would highly recommend that if you're looking for a thriller. It is fast-paced in my opinion. The writing style wasn't my favorite per se, but I think that also just came in conjunction with that unreliable narrator. I think that that just doesn't work for me because I have read something else similar to that, and it was something about a sister and a serial killer. And I felt like the narrator for that was also a bit unreliable. I couldn't tell where she was, but just beware. Beware of that husband and wife duo because they are chaotic. They are chaotic. Okay, another one actually quite similar to Rock, Paper, Scissors in the sense of like the setting is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. This is technically a horror. It's a survival horror. Having read it, I feel like it comes off better as a thriller, in my opinion, but to each their own. This is another one. Krista and her boyfriend Kiernan decide to go to this like ski lodge, snow mountain lodge, whatever. They decide to go to this lodge. And Kiernan tells Krista, let's get out of the bus and go explore Let's go explore in the woods where there's like 6 feet of fucking snow and nothing else. And she goes. And she goes exploring with him in the woods. Can you tell? Like, can you tell how I felt about this book? All right, so this is my thing, right? This to me can't be a horror because you would never catch me getting off the bus. DK, let's go explore. No, thank you. Explore what? I'm gonna explore the lodge when we get there. I'm gonna explore the grounds of the lodge when we're there. And hopefully it's fenced in so I can't get lost. This was just mayhem. And it's so gruesome and gory because they get split up. Krista and her boyfriend end up getting split up and he gets lost. She has no idea where he is. And she ends up finding the rest of the people that were on the bus with them before they got lost. She ends up finding them later on. And they all end up in this cabin that's just completely run down. There's no power, no water, or anything. And then they each start getting murdered one by one in the most gruesome, disgusting ways possible. They all just get offed one by one. The end of this book literally had me fucking spiraling. I can't tell you if I was angry spiraling or just like, what is going on spiraling? I was spiraling, like head spinning on my head at the end of this book. So, another one that to me proves sometimes you're better off on your own. So, I would highly recommend. I did think it was fun. Is it a horror to me? No, I was never really scared or necessarily like creeped out by anything, but I was horrified by the way these people were being murdered. And I was horrified by some of the decision making that was going on. So I would recommend it. I thought it was a great thriller. It was a lot of fun and it read really quickly. That is one thing I do have to say about Darcy Coates' writing, at least in Dead of Winter. She wrote in a way that had me turning the pages. Like every chapter ended almost on like a cliffhanger of sorts. So you felt the need to flip to the next chapter because you wanted to know what happens next. I would highly recommend. If you're looking for a horror thriller, something that has that like snowy atmosphere going on in the setting, I would recommend. Don't go into this one for the love because you're going to be sorely disappointed in my opinion. All right. Next up on this list, let's do the thriller actually, which is Summit Lake by Charlie Donnelly. All of Charlie Donnelly's books are thrillers. Most of them I feel like have some type of romantic aspect as far as like someone is romantically linked to somebody else. But in this one specifically, and I really enjoyed this one, it was so good. This young woman, Becca, I think is her name. Yeah, Becca. She goes to college, and at the beginning of the story, you get a little bit of like background information on Becca. She's at college and she has a group of friends. It's her girlfriend, and then two of her guy friends in the group. And by girlfriend, I don't mean romantically, just like girlfriend. Um, and then this is a prime example of why you don't where you eat, in my opinion. This is a great example of that. She ends up hooking up and starting a relationship with one of the guys in the group, but they have to keep it from one of the other guys in the group because he's romantically interested in Becca, even though she doesn't like him. It's a fucking mess, y'all. It's a mess. Becca ends up being cut off from existence, right? And it's a murder mystery. It's a murder thriller mystery, whatever you want to call it. I just pushed all those words together into one, basically. But at the crux of this one is don't where you eat. Okay, out of all of the gajillion men in the world, you had to choose the one in your friend group, the same friend group where the other one wants you, but you don't want him because you want him. And I loved her girlfriend. I don't remember her name, but I loved her because she was kind of like, I'm just gonna wash my hands of this shit. Like this is messy and I want nothing to do with it. And that's Ange. Things get messy. I'm gonna sit back here and I'm gonna watch the mess unfold. I have no reason to participate. This was fantastic. I love Charlie Donnelly thrillers. He gives you a really great bird's eye view of kind of like everybody and everything in a way that's not overwhelming, but it does kind of make you question everybody. That is something that I do in every Charlie Donnelly book that I've read so far. I, at some point, am suspecting everybody. And even when he's telling you who it was and how it happened, I'm like, but are we sure that she wasn't involved too? Because she's giving me the heebie-jeebies, and I'm feeling like she might have been involved in this. I think Charlie Donnelly thrillers are fantastic. This one specifically, that like romantic link between the characters, the students, I feel like is a little bit stronger than his other thrillers that I've read to date, which is why I'm kind of recommending this one as anti-Valentine's Day because, you know, there's a lot of other boys on that campus, Becca. You could have picked any of them, but you just had to pick the one in your friend group. And that just slays me. Highly recommend any Charlie Donnelly book, but I would recommend this one if you're anti Valentine's Day. Which I hope you guys can tell this is all in jest. Like, I'm not sitting here, I don't know, condemning people who are in love. I love that you're in love. That's actually wonderful and it makes me want to cry. Now, this is a historical fiction, The Beguiled by Thomas Cullinan, I think. I read this so long ago. It was so good, you guys. It's one of those stories where it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck, but you can't help but watch it. It's that kind of vibe. And it's a group of women. It's three women, five teenage girls, and they are at this like boarding house of sorts, I guess. And a young corporal is injured severely in the war, and he's taken to this boarding house to recover. And of course, being surrounded by females, he feels the need to mess around with them and say, well, I like this one, but I like that one too. And you see parts of this corporal, like aspects of him that change based on who he's interacting with and how he keeps himself definitely distanced from the females, from the women in the story. But these women are fucking terrifying. These women are diabolical. They are so deceitful. They scheme and they go behind each other's backs. They go behind his back. And at the end of the story, you're sitting there and you're like, my man, all you had to do was recover. There was no reason for you to go and make all this mess while you were in this boarding house. But also, like, those women are not left behind. They gave him a run for his money. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You get the historical aspect side, of course, like the war. I don't remember what war this is, but you get all of that. If you like historical fiction, it is there and it's very rich. Like the history is rich, the setting is rich, the characters are so nuanced and multi-layered, and you get to see so much of them, even though you don't see them in like huge spurts, right? You still get to know them pretty well. So you're reading about an interaction between the corporal and one of the young women, and in your head you're thinking, but you were just saying something different to this one like 10 pages ago. And it's really fun. I thought it was a lot of fun to read. It was very intriguing. They are a little bit scary though. These women are a little terrifying. Like I would want to be on their side. If we had to pick sides, I'm going with them because they're conniving. They're so conniving. It was a ton of fun to read. I would highly recommend if you like historical fiction and again, you want something where like love doesn't go the way you think it would go. I think that's a great recommendation. It's a great read. It is a little dense, I will say. Like it does take a while to get through, in my opinion. As a fast reader, I felt like I had to take my time reading it, but I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. I like messy characters. I like messy stories. They are just like, ooh, I can't get enough of them. But I definitely do get to a point where like, all right, I've had my fill. No more messy people. I need people who are like straight shooters at this point. And last up on the list, but definitely not least, The Tainted Cup. I have to say, if you like Attack on Titan, if you like aspects of Attack on Titan, I'll say, you should give The Tainted Cup a try. If you're ever in the mood for a fantasy, murder mystery type of story, I would definitely recommend. In this story, you have Din, who is like a young apprentice investigator, to Anna, who is like a head investigator. They are both so quirky and they're so neurodivergent. It's really like the representation in this book I thought was fantastic. I loved the way that the author did it. I think it's done in a way where you can feel it, you can see it, but it's not like being shoved down your throat necessarily. Like it's not overly done, if that makes sense. None of the characters felt like token characters of any type. I really enjoy that because sometimes you get characters and you're like, well, you just put them in there to say that you had a diverse cast of characters. Not in The Tainted Cup. These characters all bring something to the table, good, bad, neutral, whatever. They bring something to the table, they contribute. But in this story, Din and Anna are investigating a murder. And at first, it really does feel like they're just investigating a murder. And then the story just like snowballs out of control, sort of. And I think if you liked Attack on Titan, what you might like about this story is this world has leviathans, and they're kind of like these oversized sea monsters. And here, I'll show you a picture of the map because that's kind of what got me thinking about Attack on Titan when I saw it. But the map, if you can see, there are these walls that they live behind. and the leviathans will come from the sea and they'll like break through the walls and they'll just fucking decimate shit in this world, in this land. And I don't know why, but it just reminded me so much of the walls in Attack on Titan and the Titans and how like they just will bust through it. And there's a twist in here. There's a twist in here that very much so gave me AOT vibes because I was like, that actually happened. And then we watched like the fallout from that. And while you don't get too much of the fallout from that twist, I did think that it added something that maybe will be carried. Guys, I swear to you, the batteries say that they're full and then I start talking and then boom, dead. Why? Why are you dead? Anyways, we were talking about the Tainted Cup and how there's a twist in this book that I think, I'm hoping, is in A Drop of Corruption. Like I'm hoping that the author carried on that twist in kind of like the overarching plot of the series. This was fantastic. This was awesome. And there's no romance in it. Like, it's just a prime example of how you can have a solid ass fantasy story or a story in general, and you don't have to have romance. Like, I think there is, like, Din meets this, I don't remember what he is. I think he's like a general of some sort. And there is like a little bit of a connection between the two of them, but it's never more than that. Never more than me wondering if maybe there's something else going on. I don't know if that's going to carry over into A Drop of Corruption as well, but it's a fantastic book. In my opinion, I loved every single moment of it. I think the audiobook was fantastic. I really enjoyed this one. And I think it's a great start to what I think is going to be like an interconnected series of standalones. I just get the impression that the next book will maybe have some carryover from The Tainted Cup, but won't necessarily have the same plot point because the main, I guess, question was answered in The Tainted Cup. I feel like it was answered, and anything that we get in A Drop of Corruption, again, is just going to be like a little bit of carryover from those like smaller moments in The Tainted Cup. Highly recommend. I would highly recommend. That is making me want to read The Foundry Side, I think, by the same author. And I think it's a completed series as well. So there you have it, folks. Those are my anti-Valentines book recommendations. In case you say you to love, I got you. I gave you some books to read. And I know I'm late. I know it's the week of Valentine's. But you know what? Life is lifing. It's doing its thing. And I don't, God forbid I interrupt life. Anyways, I hope that you find something to read. I hope one of these called out to you in some way, shape, or form. As always, thank you guys so much for supporting, for watching the video. I hope you found something that you'd like to read. If you have any anti-Valentine's recommendations, drop them below because your girl is like anti-love right now. I'm just not having it, to be honest. I don't really want to delve into romance. So I'm looking for all of the like anti-love books I can possibly find on my shelves. But anyways, I will see you guys for the next one. And as always, happy reading.